Hey everyone, so I wanted to do a little bit of a video about the train wreck that's coming at us with the concept that the government kept money at zero for way too long. And we became complacent with that. And we made decisions financially about that because we were able to qualify for things that, with 0% interest. We were able to qualify for things like $800,000 houses and $1 million houses and on and on and on. And so what happened was all the value of all those assets increased as well too, making it very, very difficult to be able to buy anything now that interest rates have ticked up. The valuations of those items haven't come down as fast as interest rates have ticked up. There's where the rub is. Now, let's look at what everybody's going to be facing. Now, for me, it's a little different because I, have a pretty good solid income. I go out every day, kill it, drag it home. And I'm not afraid to go to work. And I have no debt. I got the house paid off. Right, so I have the flexibility of not having to worry about how expensive a payment actually is. But I do worry about how expensive a payment actually is because I'm cheap. Or I'm not cheap. I like to make good value for my money. Okay. So I went to the dealership and was looking at leasing another truck because my lease is coming due. My current lease is about $54,000, about $4,000 of trade-in value. It was about $50,000 2 years ago when I did that truck. Okay, and the residual value on the truck's about $42,000. That's what I'm going to buy it out for if I do decide to buy it out, $42,000. And then I paid, so there's about $8,000 of difference between 50 and 42 is 8. Okay? Divide that by 24 months, that's $333 a month. Now my payment was $360 a month. And the $360 was a little bit of interest factor, but back then interest rates were free. Buy this truck, no money down. Don't need any money. Money's free. Come on in. And because I had impeccable credit, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, hey, if you're giving pickup trucks away for free, I'll go ahead and I'll take one. Now, the problem is my payment's currently about $360 a month. $43,000. At 6.99, that's the interest rate at Windsor Family Credit Union. Okay? And if you take 43,000 by 6.99%, that is $3,000 a year of interest. Now, if I finance it for 5 or 6 years, say I finance it for 6 years, that's $18,000 of interest, let alone the cost of the truck. $18,000 in interest now. The cost of money, the value of money, $18,000. That's what I have to pay if I'm going to finance the truck, 18 grand over the next 6 years. Now, it's the cost of money. That's the real cost of money. Before, money was free. So you didn't factor this in. But now that interest rates are just 6.99, that's $18,000. It's a hell of a lot of money. So the cost of money, that $18,000 divided by 72 months is $250 a month in interest. $250 a month in interest. I haven't even started paying the $43,000 back. Just the interest. Now, the other thing, 43,000 divided by 72, if I didn't have any interest factor at all, that'd be $597 a month of payment to be able to get $43,000 paid off with zero interest in 72 months. That's what it would cost. It would cost $597.22 a month. But I have a cost of interest. So I've got to take $597 and $250, which is $847 a month. That's what it's going to cost me today in November. The payment starts in November. $847 a month. Now, I could go out and lease another truck. I could. If I leased another truck for 3 years, the truck payment would be, by the time I got done with the truck in 3 years, it'd be $28,497. If I take this number by 3 years, it's $30,492. But I have to put a fifth wheel hitch in the truck as well too. And a fifth wheel hitch is roughly about $3,000. It's a little bit more than that, a little bit less than that, depending upon HST on all that stuff. But I don't care about HST because I submit HST anyway. So it's just a wash. That stuff's just a wash. So $34.92, $28,497, $3,000. It's $31,000 if I go and lease a brand new truck. So it's actually slightly less expensive to just buy out the truck that I have, and then I own it. I'm starting to build an asset on that truck then. That's a good truck. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good truck. There's nothing wrong with it. Does everything I need it to do. I use it in my business all the time. So it's an important part of my business as well too. So I need it. I don't want a truck. I need a truck because I use a truck. Sometimes the truck looks like Fred Sanford's truck, just loaded down with stuff, and it's the funniest thing. So anyway, my payment, when I think about it, was $360. My payment is going to go up to $847. My only other option is to go lease a new truck, and then my payment is $615. But it doesn't make any sense financially. It's a wash. It just is. It's no gain, no loss, no nothing, just flat. And it's kind of silly to keep going and buying new trucks, and all you're doing is you're keeping an auto worker working, and apparently they don't like to work, and that's why they're out on strike right now. So at the end of the day, the $847 means that I own the truck and I'm paying the asset down, which it is an asset for me because it does make me money. Okay? It's a machine in my business. So, okay, but you can see what my quandary is. I'm going to have a payment going from $360 to $847. My payment is going to more than double. More than double. For the car that I already have in the driveway. Because interest rates are no longer zero, they're now even just a minor 6.99%. I believe that you would think that that would be minor. That is minor, 6.99%. I might be able to get it a little bit less, but just because my credit score is so high and everything, but 6.99%. So now, if you had a mortgage, you had groceries, you have some of the highest utility costs on the planet in Windsor, and your car payment doubles for the same car sitting in your driveway, and your mortgage is due in 2 years for renewal, and you're currently only 3%, and you know it's going to 6%. How do you do this? Your pay is not going up that fast. And if your pay was going up that fast, we would be in an inflationary spiral that would just be a death spiral for everything else. It's completely unsustainable. And so this is the train wreck that's coming to everybody. This exact same train wreck. Now the benefit for us is we don't have a mortgage. There's nothing there. Don't have to worry about that payment. Our incomes are generally kind of fixed. Mine's generally about the same every freaking year, which is good, not a problem. I like that. I like serving people. And I'm married to a teacher, and you know how difficult that is. The government doesn't want to pay teachers a dime. How dare they make any money teaching our kids? So at the end of the day, income is kind of flat. But grocery costs are now I'm averaging about $185 a week for 2 people for groceries. How in the heck do families facing this train wreck figure that they're even going to get through this? Think about that for a second. How are you thinking you're going to get through this? Just do the basic math. Oh, I forget. We don't teach basic math anymore. We're not proficient in basic math anymore. But you can see where our train wreck is. And this is staring at us right now. And yet, we believe that we're going to have money to go on vacation. We believe that we're going to have money to continue to keep spending, going on trips to Hawaii and whatever else. But then how are we supposed to be saving for retirement too? If we need $1.4 million to retire with the same income as what we currently have, how in the heck are we going to save $1.4 million? And how in the heck are we going to take the risk-free rate? Because if we put it in the market, what happens if there's another 2008 in our retirement account? I've given up on trying to fund my retirement. I'm a financial advisor. I just said I'm just going to work the rest of my life. It is what it is. Because the system's rigged. The system's working against us. So what you have to ask your question about, and I ran into this yesterday. Ran into a young gentleman, has a house in Tecumseh. Another baby on the way. And he has some pretty good equity. He's got about $500,000 of equity. And I said to him, I said, what's your plan for this coming in? This was the guy at the dealership. What's your plan for this? Well, Brian, I'm just kind of hoping that interest rates go down. Think about that for a second. Well, Brian, I'm just kind of hoping that interest rates will go down. So let's take a look. Interest rates. We can follow along. Here's the 10-year. Let's blow it up. Sorry, that's my Matchbox deal. I've got a Hot Wheels deal. Here's interest rates. 4.71%. From 3.28 to 4.71 since April. Do you believe that interest rates are going to go down as fast as they went up? Okay, then let me show you what interest rates, how long it took to get down here. January 1st, 2020, or whatever that was, 2020. Yeah, 2020. 6.980. We're now 4.717. Now, and look how long it took us to get there. From 1985, which is where we peaked at 8.1, or 9.3 in 1989. This trend is broken out. The trend line, this decreasing line that comes across here, which you can see has stopped. We're now going the other way. Do you believe that interest rates are going down? No, they're not going down, they're going up. They've been held historically low to this level for so frickin'ly long. At the very least, they're going here, which is exactly what we got today, 5.13. At the very least, they're going to there. And then a chartist can tell you that, hey, if we look across the rest of that frontier back this way, we see that, yeah, there's been some tests to 513. So 513 is kind of a resistance level on the 10-year note. But if we break above 513, then where could we go? And the answer to that question is through the roof. Because the next stopper is not until up here, which is 581. And then it's up here, which is 697. And then it's up here, which is 782. And then it's up here, which is 8.82. We're just back to our normal. 1985, 1990 actually. So all we're doing is we've retraced our lows and we're going higher. So I ask the question, and I've done this before. I get it. I've done it before. Back when I was looking at leaving Chrysler back in 1998 when things were really bad. Back in 1998, or sorry, 2008. So 2008, right about here. Okay? Interest rates had pretty much ended at 3.4. There was only a little bit more downside left. And I was leaving Chrysler at the time. And I said, this trend can't last. Interest rates are going to be going up. So I started paying hard. As I got into real estate, as interest rates were going down, I said, gee, interest rates are going to end up going back up. So I was paying down as interest rates were dropping, and everybody was bugging me saying, why would you do that, Brian? Interest rates are, the bank's money is free. Why would you care about paying it off? Well, hello? Because all of a sudden, interest rates aren't free any longer. The government took that away from us. And I don't have to do anything with my house. But if you bought one of these $800,000 houses, and let me show you another, let me go there too. Here's what the rest of this problem is. Sorry, all my board notes and everything come in there, but let's go and search residential, and we're going to pull up Bliss. I think it was Bliss. $3,697 Bliss. So here's a house. We can pull up the property history. Well, I can't pull up the property history this way, but can't show the other way that I can pull up property history. It's called Geo Warehouse. Don't need to go there anyway, but I'm going to come back just to this listing because this is public. So on this particular house, they have it listed for $349,900. It was listed at $399,900. They bought this house at the pinnacle of the market, and they paid $440,000 for it. They paid $440,000 for it. It's on Bliss. It's a nice house, actually. You know, the photos, it's a decent house. It's a typical Windsor house. It's kind of nice on the inside. Not that bad. Painted kitchen and stuff, but hey, not that bad. Fake brickwork, real fireplace. Not that bad of a house. The typical house that we would otherwise see in the city of Windsor. Decent yard, garage, good location. Bliss isn't that bad. But they want $460,000 for it because that's what they paid for, plus commissions, or $440,000 plus commissions. So instead, what they did was they came down here and they said, gee, we can't afford to sell our house. We realize we're all upside down, and we're going to take it out on everybody else and only pay the competing realtor $1. Now, who in their right mind is going to show this house? Why is it even on the MLS? Why isn't the for sale by owner sign in the ground? Maybe it is. Don't know. Maybe he is trying to sell it himself. But it's very hard to show this house. Now, and I have. My clients looked at it a couple of different times, and they keep coming back to the concept, I can't believe they want $440,000 for that house. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for that house. And that's truthful, because today it's not worth $440,000. It was worth $440,000 back then, but it's not worth $440,000 now. They're upside down. And because they didn't put any money down, they used all the bank's money. They're sitting there saying, well, gee, we can't afford to do anything. We can't afford to go. We can't afford to leave. We can't afford to stay. We can't afford nothing. Let's hope that interest rates go down. But my point to you is, if you bought an $800,000 house when interest rates were cheap, and if we can still get that house sold for $800,000, let's say you put 20% down. If we can by chance get that house sold for around $760,000, $770,000, $780,000, shouldn't we be now selling that house, right-sizing you back into a $500,000 neighborhood, which was where you were supposed to be buying in the first place, so that you don't end up getting caught wherever my thingy went to. Let's see. Oh. So that you don't end up getting caught when interest rates just go back to 8%. What are you going to do? What's your plan? We already know that if we go to BMO, let's just go RBC. The 5-year fixed rate is 6.49. 6.49%. And its APR is 6.52. So guess what? If you had a 3% fixed rate that's coming due for renewal the next 2 years, your renewal rate will be more than 6.49%. Because interest rates are out of the bucket. They're out of the can. They're flying. Okay, what if I take a 5-year variable rate then, Brian? That's 7.18%. It's not any better. Okay, what if I finance for just 2%? Okay, great, but look at your 2-year fixed. It's 7%. Okay, but what if I do high ratio or all these other things? Or what if there's some special deals or some special benefits, Brian? Okay, great. So somebody buys this rate down. They can't buy it down any more than 0.49, so you're still paying a 6% rate. If you're at 3% right now on an $800,000 note, that's $24,000 a year you're paying in interest. Think about that. $800,000 house at 3% was $24,000 a year in interest. $2,000 a month just in interest. Now interest is 6%. So that same $800,000 mortgage that you owe, you now have to pay $48,000 a year just in interest. And yet you're holding on to your house saying, I hope it gets better. Now, there is this fun thing about hope. We do want to hold on to hope as long as we possibly can. But we don't need to hope for something. We need to plan for something. What is your plan when you do face a renewal interest rate? And if I go full circle and I come back over here and I say, look at this data set and show you that the average over is down to just 10,557, down from 38,000 a week before. And I show you, this is just looking at the housing market, folks, just the freaking housing market. Okay? And I show you and I say, look, they were 35 under bid, up from 20 the week before, up from 5 the week before. 30 houses under the asking price. Why in the heck are you sitting there thinking about hope on your financial future? If anything, now's the time to be selling that $800,000 house, $900,000 house, and right-sizing back down into South Walkerville, a $500,000 neighborhood. So that you can live like no one else while everyone else is crying. All of those people that are holding on to hope are going to have a train wreck that they're creating. All you have to do is look at interest rates. There is no hope with interest rates. You know what's coming at you. And even if they did reduce by 1/4 point, you're still paying 6% on your renewal. Your interest cost is going to double on your house when you go to renew. What's your plan for that? Your car that you've got leased out in the driveway is going to go from $360 a month, like mine is, to $850 a month. What is your plan when that happens? Because it's coming. It's on the track. It's a train on this track that's coming at you really frickin'ly fast because of the government's ineptitude to take interest rates down to 0 and hold them there for too long. We got complacent with those interest rates. And now we're having to pay the penalty because interest rates are just going back to their normal. The cost of borrowing money costs money to borrow money. It just does. And yet nobody's calling me saying, oh my gosh, Brian, I've created this train wreck. I got kind of sucked into this whole 2% deal that the government was offering me. And now I realize that the bell is tolling and the government's going to take everything away from me. And I don't want the government to take everything away from me. I don't want the government to crush me like a bug. I'm in control of this. And I want to come to you and I want to make the right choices around my financial future. And I want to right size my portfolio because interest rates are going higher, Brian. Or they're at the very least staying the same and they're going to double on me and I just can't afford it. I can't go back to my boss and ask him for more money. There you go. Call me today. We can look at that house. We can see what kind of equity you have. We can get it marketed. We can get it sold and we can get you a nice clean house in an affordable neighborhood that you can afford. And then the equity that you transfer over, you're only going to owe $200,000 instead of owing $800,000 or $600,000 or $500,000. You'll owe less so that the interest rate rise won't hurt you as much. Thanks for watching. I sure hope that I can help somebody. Nobody's calling saying, Brian, this is a train wreck. Geez, holy crap. I got to get this fixed. I'm in control of my financial future. I want to be in control of my financial future, and I need your help, Brian. Nobody, not a soul. It's like everybody's got their head in the ground saying, oh yeah, government's going to go to zero again. No. It's just not happening. There's no money left in the world. Money is so scarce that the cost to borrow it is now out of the can. It's going higher. Call me. Be more than happy to help. 519-995-6145. Have a great day. Bye-bye.